Hello guys, and welcome to another replay analysis with me, a barcode. Maybe it's Hitman. Not the Protoss player, but he is Protoss. Maybe it's him. And Sapien. Holy shit. Barcode boy, let's see what happens. So this is a replay analysis, guys, and if you don't know how these work, basically what happens is I watch the game and I yell at the person I'm watching. Repeatedly. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I make them feel really bad about themselves so that they can then play better. Okay, I'm just joking. It's I just help the person who I'm talking about get better at the game. And this is currently a Masters 2 level Zerg vs Protoss. So, we'll see what's going on. We'll identify weaknesses and strengths of the build. 16 hatch. You have every close patch stacked with 2. I love it. It's very good so far. I like the Overlord as well. To be honest. No, it's okay. I was going to say, I kind of want you to maybe move it to like right there even. Just so you don't have any fog of war, but you actually can see this. So it's not that bad. Because you don't want to have a probe like go like boop boop and go like from here to here. And then screw you over that way and like build a fucking pylon there in a cannon or something without you knowing about it. Obviously you see the probe in your main too, but crazier things have happened where a player has literally this is old school Protoss tomfoolery. Sometimes you'd have a Protoss player who'd try to be really sneaky, okay? And what they would do is they would stack up 2 probes on a gas that is building. They would build a gas and they would stack 2 probes on it, and then they would then cancel the gas. The reason why this works like this is because you can get probes lined up to be identically on top of each other. So there's no... You can't tell it's 2 probes. And then what they would do is they would tell the probe to go here to the base, mineral walk style, but then they would go like this. The second there's fog of war and they can abuse it, like for instance if they were like, okay, there's an overlord sitting right here, I'm gonna have one probe go into the main like this, and then the second he's like here, one of the probes rip off and goes to the opposite side. It's happened before. It's not common, but I'm just saying it's kind of a cool thing Protoss can do. So if you don't have the front of your base, but again you see it barely, but if you don't have this covered in vision a little bit, which is again like I think it'd be a little bit better if you had it like there. It's a small thing. It's probably never happened to you either. But it has happened before, and it's super silly if it happens to you, and you're like, wait, what? What the fuck? And then you realize, oh god, he had 2 probes, and he just literally forked them off right here. Yeah, like that really can't happen to you then, because you'd have more vision of it. But yeah, it's fine. You're doing fine. I just thought it was kind of cool to tell you that, because that actually has happened before. There was a meta where Protoss has tried to do that shit a lot. But I like that you're leaving it in the natural, though. I like that you then move it forward. Okay, so this is what I wanted you to do. I like that you're moving it forward. You're going all the way, it seems like, which is fine because your hatchery's almost done. I don't mind it. It's cool. And you also saw the probe go this way. Here's a fun tip, okay? Here's a fun tip. You want to know something cool? If this is a way to read the game in a really intelligent way. If you saw that probe go like this, go down, and he disappeared, and you don't see a probe go like this and go past this overlord within the next like 15 seconds, you know what I would tell you? You should make a Zergling and you should scout for proxies on the south side of the map, because what the fuck is he doing? Like, why did the probe run this way and then never go home? It might not be a proxy. He might just be waiting to scout you again in the future. That could happen. But what if it was a proxy? What if it was like a proxy Stargate? So you should see a probe crossing your overlord right now into his base again if he was going to send it home. And if you don't right now, you know that there's a probe on the map somewhere. Let's just for fun, really fast, hit everyone's vision. The probe is still here. So this is obviously the first place you would scout. But he's still chilling there, so it's fine. You just know that you know the probe is still on the map somewhere if you don't see it come back. Also, you're drunk. What the hell kind of cliff click is that? It's like that's way off. Okay, so you dealt with the probe. That's nice. You're going overlord speed first. And you see an oracle and a robo. So obviously you should be making spores immediately right now. You do. Okay. And now you have 100 gas again after getting Zergling speed and Overlord speed with 2 drones on the gas, and you eventually put a 3rd one back on. When did you put the 3rd one back on? Out of curiosity. I think you put it back on as you start speed. You do. Okay. This is kind of a lot of gas early game. Now what are you going to do with this said gas? Let me go for a layer. Your build's fine. It's fine. I don't mind it. It is very safe with the Overlord speed. It's fine. You have 5 queens as well. Okay. Okay, here's an opinion. If you see this, if you ever open up Zergling speed, okay? If you open up Overlord speed and Zergling speed, okay, that's a big one. If you open up for a massive investment to Overlord speed and then Zergling speed, early game, ideally what you should be doing now is giving yourself advantages based off of what you scout. There's only 2 ways you can react to what you've just seen to give yourself an advantage. Number 1 is you play greedier than the Protoss. The Protoss is playing standard, so now you can play greedy. Or number 2, you punish him by knowing, oh, he opened up with an Oracle, and now maybe I can make a bunch of Speedlings and run over his Nexus. Like, I think the safer choice is the greedier option, because if the Oracle is defensive, it has a good chance of maybe defending it. But you need to do something, I would say, one way or another to react to this in a way that's going to be more efficient than what he's doing. So what I would say you should do is you should crank drones out just like you are, and you should take a 4th base, like right now. You should take a 4th right now. Like right as soon as you spin the larva. If you don't take a 4th for a very long time and you just stay on 3 bases for a long time, I think you're missing an opportunity. Okay, you do take a 4th. That is very good. So far, so good. You're now making a bunch of lings, though. I don't know if I agree with this. The only reason why I say this is because you have the Roach one already, and if you make lings, like some of them, you no longer need the lings for defensive purposes at this stage of the game. You really don't. You would only really want to make lings at this point in the game for aggressive purposes. And you needed to have already made them if you were going to be aggressive with them, because you need to definitely be aggressive while this is being built, not while it's already been built. After it's done being built, it's way harder to kill it, just in general, because like it's longer, it's later, the Protoss is going to have more. For instance, he also has a shield battery over here. He's got this kind of walled off to a degree. I think it's actually a full... I don't know if that's a full wall. I don't know if it... Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just going to be harder to kill. So I feel like you're making these lings for defensive purposes. And making the lings for defensive purposes is really bad, in my opinion, if you already have access to roaches at this stage of the game. I would much rather have seen 8 roaches than 16 lings. That just fucked you over so bad. Like that right there was almost like game ending.
Hello, ViBE.
Hi, Alaz. Thank you very much for the bits, duder. Thank you, thank you. You just lost 44 units right there. And probably like what, 8 drones? 9 drones. That's brutal. It's fucking brutal. So, in the future, I would say, yeah, definitely make roaches at this stage. Once you have a roach horn out, if you're going to play defensive. Lings at this stage are garbage for defensive purposes. They only make sense if you make them early. Like before you have access to a roach horn. Alright, lads, thank you for the 500 bits. Thank you, man. Thank you, thank you. Does that just put you behind, I would say, no? Because you made the roaches, so you double dipped your larva into defense, right? You made a bunch of lings, and then now you also made roaches. When if you just made the roaches, that's all you would have needed to have made. And you've lost all the lings you made too, and some drones. Like, you lost that was a lot of larvae being wasted right there, essentially. That's what I'm trying to say. It was not great. And then you also lost the queen too. So it's more larvae missing now too. I don't agree with the Ravagers, and I do not agree with the Baneling Nest. I do agree with the Infestation Pit, but like my point I'm trying to make here is what's the point of Ravagers right now? What is the purpose of them? They're squishier than roaches, and you're going up against, and also they're slower than roaches.
Enjoy your Friday night.
Yo, Ilaz, thank you very much for the 150 bits. Much love, dude. Roaches are faster than Ravagers, and roaches are tankier than Ravagers, which means roaches are better than Ravagers at dealing with zealots. And his army is majorly zealot focused with AoE. Okay? That's and also Ravagers are fucking expensive. They're a lot of gas. So I feel like you're already kind of like giving yourself not the ideal composition. Now, if these were sentries instead of Templar, and if maybe there was some Stalker in here, some more Stalker, or even if there wasn't a lot of Stalker, if it was just Sentry, Zealot, Archon Immortal, I'd be like, yeah, okay, Ravagers make sense. They totally make sense. But for the fact that it's Archon Immortal charge a lot, I don't think Ravagers make a whole lot of sense here. I don't like the Ravager addition, and you made a lot of them. You made a fuckload of them. Did he know about the Zealots? Yeah. Yo, Ilaz, thank you as well again for the 5 gifted subs. Ilaz, my god, bro. Thank you very much for all this, all the bits and subs now. Jesus. Much appreciated, dude. You're a boss.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you asked me, did Sapien know about the Zealots? It doesn't matter if he knows about the Zealots because they're pretty standard, honestly. Like, it's a pretty standard follow-up to what the Protoss is doing. And I mean, he also has access to speed overlords and speedlings, so he could easily scout it. And his creep spread is really good. Your creep spread is great. So you could easily see the push coming, and then if you realized, oh shit, I need to make Ravagers, you could make Ravagers like right here if he showed you on his creep right here that he was going for sentries. But if he's going Mass Zealot, you don't want to go Ravagers. You want to make your gas something better than this. Like, Ravagers are not a good choice against this. They're not the worst choice, but they're not a good choice.
Oh,
there are better choices. Like Aspire is a better choice. Swarm Host are a better choice. Hydras, Lurkers are a better choice. Even Banelings are a better choice. Oh god, Ravager and Baneling. I don't like this at all. This army is just gonna get eaten alive by Storm. Okay, so you have a Greater Spire being started, you have Melee being started, Adrenal Glands being started. I like all of that. I dislike your current composition, though.
Yeah.
Yo, Fugu, thank you very much for the 4-month sub, dude. Welcome back. Thank you, thank you. Welcome back, bro. Also your drone count looks kind of garbo. No, it's 80. Oh, you have this base, sorry. I didn't see this base. I, for some reason, thought you were on 4 bases. My bad. Yeah, your drone count's actually okay. I would say this. This would be my game plan for you. Try your best to not engage him, but make him feel defensive until you get Broodlords out, because your current army blows. This army sucks versus what you're fighting against. Archon, Storm, Immortal is going to annihilate this army. What did you just make as well? You just made another round of Zerglings. Oh, God. What your army looks like right now, this is the way you need to be, the way you need to be dealing with your opponent right now is you need to be counterattacking his base, not trying to fight his army. Because your army, you have to realize your army sucks ass compared to his. So the only way, but his army sucks ass to Broodlords. So if you can make him chase you around his base, and then kill workers in the process, and suddenly now he's ready to counterattack you because he's cleaned up most of your army in his base while losing probes. When he comes to counterattack you, he suddenly gets greeted by like 10 broods or something. That would be way better. But if you fight his army straight up, you're going to get crushed. Like you should be right now going up and around and engaging his base, because this army defensively is garbage versus what he has. It seriously is a really bad army. I see you getting obliterated right here. You're going to get fucking obliterated. That's what I am going to foresee right now. Let's go ahead and look at resources lost as it starts. We'll say you're 34 versus 6. And that was even awful micro by the Protoss. Like, why the fuck would he rotate all of his zealots into your veins? He has Archons that can literally do that, and Storm. He doesn't need to run his zealots in, but even though he did, I still think he has the advantage. Like, the Protoss can fuck this up so bad and still kick the crap out of you. Because zealots are just fodder. His Storm and his Archon Immortal are what's scary here. And now you're in the classic situation of Zerg getting run down on with the broods because you're not done morphing them yet, and he's already here, and if he realizes this and he pushes forward into your broods are going to start dying as they try to like initiate a fight, which is not ideal. And you've just lost also your entire army. Other than that, so you have no cover for these broodlords. You want to know why your Broodlords are so delayed as well? It's because you made like 12 Ravagers. Or like 10 Ravagers. That's so much gas. Like, realistically, what did the Ravagers do? They weakened an Archon. I'm not going to lie. Out of every round of Crucible you did, I feel like all that really happened is you weakened an Archon. You didn't even kill anything. Your Banelings killed some of the Zealots. And then you weakened an Archon with Corrosive Bile, otherwise you just auto-attacked with your Ravagers until they all died. Like, Ravagers were so garbage here. 99%. Thank you very much for the 13-month resub, dude. Welcome back. Welcome back, bro. No more Banes. You waste way too much gas. You're making Banes and Ravagers, and both of those things are shit versus his composition. I'll tell you right now, the only time Banes are good, the only time Banes are going to be good against Protoss early game is if you're going to support the Banes with something else, not Ravagers. Like support them with Hydras or support them with just Roaches, but Hydras are probably the best thing to support them with because Hydras have the highest DPS auto attack. So if you can get rid of the AoE and get rid of the Zealots, and then if you also have an excessive amount of Lings left over, Hydras pair well with Banes because Hydras do the sickest DPS out of any Hydra unit, or out of any auto attacking unit out of the early stages of Zerg. They do more DPS than a Ravager, a Roach. That's basically it. Like, you can't really say they do more DPS than a Zergling, because Zerglings actually do insane DPS, but Zerglings are just fodder as well. They're going to run in and die. They're not going to have a great uptime. So Hydras pair well with Banes because the Banes kill the Zealots and they kill the Templar. And then the Hydras and whatever Zerglings are left over are able to just pop all the Archons and Immortals. That's why that comp goes well together. I do not understand why Zergs like to go Bane Ravager. This doesn't make any sense, especially against this. Because all this guy has to do to beat you is engage you, but not actually engage with the Zealots. Just hold the Zealots back for a sec. Storm and Archons clean up all of your Banes. And then he pushes forward into your Zerglings. And then you shove with your Zealots into it as well after the Banes are gone. And what the fuck does Zerg do there? Ravager Zergling does not beat Storm, Archon, Immortal Charge Lot. And what Ravager Baneling does to you is it wastes all your fucking gas. So that things like this are super late. I can't believe he didn't die right there, to be honest, but yeah. And you're making more Banes, like we talked about it a second ago. You definitely don't want to be making more Banes. Also, you don't want to be getting range upgrades. I don't understand this range upgrade right now. You want to get melee upgrades. At this point, I would say if you're going to get a range upgrade, you can get it really early first, for the purpose of Roaches or Hydras to be stronger. Early game. If you're going to go for Ling heavy style, you shouldn't even get range weapons. But if you're going to go for like a Hydra or a Roach heavy style early on, range weapon to level 1 is great. But if you're going to switch into Broodling, Broodlord and Zergling, later, start getting melee upgrades all the way to level 3. Because at this point in the game now that you have Broodlords, that you've committed to that, Roaches and Hydras and Ravagers are irrelevant. They are irrelevant. You should not be making any of them anymore. So if I see you making Roaches again as well, I'm going to be like, why are you making Roaches? I agree with the Zerglings, but I disagree with the range weapon. Gas conservation is big for Zerg at late game. You want to make sure you have enough to make what you need to make, and making wastes of your gas is like, what the hell is this Banelings? What is this? You don't want this. I'm gonna let you know a secret. Yo, Larissa, what up? Hi. Hey. I have a headache. I feel poopy. I'm gonna let you know a secret. Sapien. If you go Banelings here, why? To kill the Zealots? Are the Zealots really that threatening? You have Broodlords. Zealots don't do shit. You could actually kill Zealots all day with Zergling Broodling from Broodlords. The only thing that's threatening here is the 1 Archon and the 4 Templar. And you can easily kite that. You could kite that with your Broods. You could kite it. This is so unthreatening. And if you had more gas, what if you use that gas to do something like make more Corruptors, more Broodlords, or like infestors, something that actually has multi-purpose. Banelings have no purpose other than to blow up into the zealots, and you would kill the zealots just as efficiently if you just used broodlords and zerglings, because you can't hit air. Like, oh god, that's if I was Protoss right now, I would feel like I'm winning the game, even if you killed all my zealots. You want to know why? It's because you're trading gas to kill minerals. Don't ever do that. You never want to do that, because all that's happening is you're keeping your gas bank non-existent, and he's growing his because he's making you burn yours. So if this dude switches into air units, which it looks like he is, you're gonna die. I'll tell you right now, there's only one time I would ever say going banelings at this stage when you have broodlords ever makes any sense. And it's if your opponent decided to go for like mass Blinkstalker remax. Just mass Blinkstalkers. And you didn't already have access to lurkers, because lurkers are actually better for this. Because they don't kill themselves. And they also counter stalkers even better. But if your opponent max like 25 or 30 or 40 stalkers or something like that, and then he was going to blink forward and try to pop your broodlords, countering that by engaging with Banes as he blinks into you is not a bad idea. You could fuck up the majority of his stalkers with that and be good to go. And that'd be fine. But again, I think lurkers do it better. Lurkers are better than this. That I would say going Baneling Broodlord was actually like more of like a Heart of the Swarm thing. Or maybe even Wings of Liberty. Not even Wings of Liberty, really, because Fungal Growth was OP as fuck in Wings of Liberty. Heart of the Swarm was like Baneling Broodlord.
You look comfy.
Against Blinkstalkers. But that's like that era is over. Like lurkers exist now, so lurkers just do that better. But again, that's Banelings blowing up Blinkstalkers would be okay.
Yeah.
But this is like so much gas you're just dumping into Banes over and over and over. Thank you, People Man, for the bits, by the way, and Manny and always organizing. Thank you guys for the 5 and 4 month resubs. What's up? Welcome back.
Oh,
What league is this? This is Masters. The macro is good here. The creep spread is really good here. It's just the composition is awful. Like, look, dude, look at that. Just that is a perfect example right there. Oh, shit, I just missed it again. Sorry. Let's count how many Banes die. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7. 17. So this is now 24 Banes. And out of 24 Banes, 6 survived. So you just burned 18 Banelings. 18 Banelings. To kill like 6 Zealots. Or so. Or 7 Zealots. Which is like 700 minerals for Protoss. And gas-wise for you, for 18 Banelings, is 450 gas. That's a lot of fucking gas. That's 3 Broodlords. I would much rather have had 3 Broods than to just waste Banes on 7 Zealots. And then if you do that shit repeatedly, you know, it's gonna repeatedly screw your gas over. What's up, Chippy? How are the ladder games going? I'm okay. I have actually a fucking humongous headache right now. Unfortunately. It just like, yeah, I don't know. It's not, it feels horrible. But I'm okay otherwise. Hope you're doing well. Do you have allergies? I do. I do. What's a better way to defend outer bases? More spines? and Zerglings. More than 2 spines. Make like 8 spines. So here's what I do. Outer bases. If my opponent is the kind of guy that's going to make a lot of charge lots and he's going to run around a lot, which is a lot of Protosses. Besedzin. Thank you very much for the 6-month resub, dude. Much love. Much love, man. I hope you're doing... I'm doing well. Thank you. I hope your headache goes away as soon as possible. Thank you, Jimmy. I hope it does too. It feels bad. I took some stuff, so hopefully it goes away. But check this out. Sapien. If you put like 6 to 10 spines at outer bases, we'll just say 8 on average. 8 spines in like a spore. That already is really, really, really good at cost efficiently killing zealots. Because you don't have to make 8 spines at every single base. You can make 8 spines at your current outer base, and as soon as you take another base, you can uproot like 6 of those 8 spines, move the 6 to the new base, and add like 2 more to it. You could just keep making like 1 or 2 spines at your inner bases and 8 spines or so at your outer bases. And then you could also make lurkers, and you could have on the both sides of the map, the furthest most exposed base could have 1 lurker at it. So whatever base has 8 spines has a lurker as well. And then you could also put 8 spines and a lurker in your main, if you could afford this, if you had like a good bank to work with. And suddenly, every time he tries to do zealot run-bys on your tech or your outer furthest most exposed expansions, he'll run into spine lurker and get just destroyed. And then you can also make zerglings, and you can use zerglings to trade against zealots, because believe it or not, +3 adrenal gland zerglings trade better cost efficiency wise, like mineral to mineral, than zealots do. Because zealots and zerglings both have decent trades. If you have 100 minerals of zergling versus 100 minerals of zealot, and there's no micro involved, it's just a move, zerglings win. If it's not like a little tiny choke point where only 1 leg at a time can fight. But as soon as you have adrenal glands and as well, zerglings start beating the shit out of zealots. Zerglings scale better than zealots do, and they already win equal trades before the scaling happens. Zerglings are better than zealots. So if you invest 1,000 minerals in zerglings versus 1,000 minerals of zealots, and you have adrenal glands with melee upgrades, you're going to fucking wreck the zealots. So I wouldn't even be worried about zealots with like needing banes and shit like that. Zealots are like, I think you're focusing way too hard on the zealots, and the zealots are actually all zealots are is a way to burn your money. That's it. Like, can he make you burn your gas on zealots, which is what he's accomplishing. So, yeah, just don't make banes for that shit, and you're good to go. The zerglings are really good. And what you're doing right now too is you're getting very impatient. Don't ever do this either. You don't ever want to engage. So you never want to force a fight with your main army late game PvZ. You don't ever want to do that. Both players don't want to do that. You want to break your opponent down first and allow them to all into you. You don't want it to be the other way around. You don't want to expose your army in an all-in scenario when you don't need to be there. Because what's happening now is you're giving him the ability to come at all these different angles into your army and kill you. And he could even do something like what he's doing now, where he's going into Tempest, and he could just siege you from his base. And what can you do about it? Like, not much. And also, you've also now exposed your base. This army should actually be zoning this army. His big army should be getting zoned by the Broodlords constantly, and you can do that with changelings and creep spread. So you've exposed yourself. If he wants to counterattack you now, he totally can. Your bases would all die. And then also, all he has to do now is make a couple Tempests, just like he did, and he wins the game. So you got way too impatient with how you attacked here. You moved out way too early. I'm glad you're turning around, but he's going to counterattack you and kill at least this base. Guaranteed he kills this base. At least. Yeah. And now you're making roaches. Disagree with the roaches. I think you're making shit randomly way too much. That's another round of gas. You should just be literally making more broods, more corruptors, and zerglings. And then, if you can use it properly, make some infestors with it too. Like, that is God mode ZvP. That is such a good army for Zerg. Roaches, banelings, all this stuff, it just slows all your gas down repeatedly. And you're once again fighting his minerals with your gas. And you're trading. You're fighting zealots with roaches. And yeah, roaches are better than banes. But what just happened with the roaches though? What's gonna happen to them? Some of them are gonna die. And you're gonna now do what with them? You're gonna probably run across the map and attack more mineral zealots with roaches, and eventually you're gonna lose them all. Like, minerals are able to be thrown away repeatedly because you get so much more of them than you get of gas. But you really can't be wasting your gas. Making Ravagers again. Oh my goodness. This is just repeatedly. You're just wasting your gas like crazy. You're wasting way too much gas. Basically, I want you to do this from now on. This would help you. Don't make anything that costs gas that is a ground unit once you have Broodlords. Unless it's a lurker. And if you make a lurker, you only make a lurker because you need a lurker to defend like an outer base, like here. It's because of zealots. That's it. You don't make banes. You don't make hydras. You don't make roaches. You don't make ravagers. You don't make swarm host anymore. You don't make any of this stuff. You just make zerglings, and I guess also infestors. You can make infestors. But like, I really the big ones are, don't make hydras anymore, don't make fucking roaches anymore, don't make ravagers anymore, don't make banes anymore. All those things, you keep making them so much, except for the hydras obviously. But it's such a waste of gas. Like, these ravagers are going to accomplish nothing, and this is the equivalent of 7 more corruptors. It could have been 7 more corruptors, which is actually relevant against what he has. And you're also not upgrading your upgrades at all. If you go roach, or if you go corrupted broodlord, get carapace. Always, always, always get carapace. Do not fucking get weapon upgrades. Weapon upgrades are if you're gonna go mutos. Why do you go carapace? Because if he goes carriers and you don't go carapace, you automatically are gonna die. Automatically. Do you say you almost won that fight? You almost won that fight. You literally almost won that fight. With air. What if you had 7 more corruptors? What if you had 10 more corruptors like you're making now? What if you just had more corruptors? What happened to your ravagers? They're fighting zealots. Like, I don't want your ravagers to be in this fight. I don't want them to exist at all. Yeah, just make more broodlords, make more corruptors. Make spines. To defend, like, spines are so fucking good. 1 spine and a zealot. A spine is gonna beat the crap out of a zealot. Spines are also ranged. So if you have 8 spines and he shows up with some zealots, and you have creep spread so you can see it, what if you run over, like, what if he sends 18 zealots at your base and you have 8 spines at it, and then you make like fucking 24 zerglings, which is not even a fair trade, by the way. That's heavily in favor of the zealots. Because you should be having 4 lings to 1 zealot as a fair ratio. Well, you could have like 24 lings versus like 18 zealots, and you could have 8 spines, and you could just wait until he gets to the spines and then engage him right there. And I guarantee you'd win that fight with zerglings, and you might lose half your lings and like 2 spines, and he'll lose all his zealots. Especially if you have adrenal glands. Like, it would be an amazing trade that you would crush. I don't think you have nearly enough confidence in your mineral-based defenses, like Ling Spine. The Zealots should definitely never be trading against your minerals repeatedly. This is and they're gonna win this fight too because Ravagers are very squishy. Yeah. Hope that makes sense. You just wasted way too much gas over and over and over. That's your biggest problem, is you waste way too much gas on bad units that don't need to be made. Certain units in ZvP are acceptable to make early on, but then as soon as you get past that phase, and that phase immediately goes away as soon as you have Broodlords, if that's the style you're going to play. As soon as you have Broods, all those units expire, and it's just Broods now. Broods, and how can I cover my Broods? Corruptors and Infestors or whatever. No more, yeah, stop making crappy units at that stage, which is what they are at that stage. And also get Carapace to level 3 as fast as you can. That way you can actually win sky battles. But, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know that was kind of a little bit of a low energy analysis. I'm sorry guys, I have a really bad headache right now. It's getting worse because I keep talking nonstop. But thank you guys for watching. Until next time, go check out more videos, and I will see you then. Goodbye everybody. Peace. Take it easy. Much love.